Hi guys, so in the last video we talked a little bit about the interquartile range, and I mentioned that there was something very important that the interquartile range can tell us. So if we look at our data set up here, is there anything you notice between the minimum value and the next value up, and then the value after? So 0 to 10 is quite a big jump, and then 10 to 11 is quite a small jump. So 0 is sort of out there by itself, and then if you look at the rest of the data, it's really only going up by ones, and that 0 to 10 jump really, really stands out. Now, if you were looking at, I don't know, a sporting event or something, and you had, let's say, the amount of seconds to run 100 meters or something, and someone pretty consistently runs 100 meters in like 10 seconds, I guess. Right? But then one time they trip over and it takes them 20 seconds to get across the finishing line. Would it make sense to count that 20-second time as the part of the mean for their overall time? Probably not. Because it's an unusually large data point. So we call data points which are unusually large or small outliers. And to calculate an outlier, all you need to do is go 1.5 times the IQR. You get this, and you get Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR. You don't really need the brackets here because the multiplication will always come first from BODMAS, but I'm just putting it there just to highlight it for you. And Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR. Okay? So this is saying that any value that's 1.5 times the interquartile range less than the first quartile is an outlier. It is unusually small. Okay? And any value that's 1.5 times IQR higher than Q3 is unusually big. So, what we need to do then, we need to get Q1, Q2, and Q3. Well, I've already calculated the median. It's 13, which is this one here. So we can put 13 into Q2. So for Q1, again, we need to find the halfway point between our minimum and our Q2. So there's 5 data points, so 5 divided by 2 is 2.5, rounded up to 3. The third data point is 11. And we can do the same for Q3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Third data point is 15. And the IQR is 15 minus 11, which equals 4. Okay? So to check for outliers, we need to go Q1, which is 11, minus 1.5 times IQR, which is 4. So I'm actually just going to put 4 in there, just to save some space, times 4, not 14, 4. So 1.5 times 4 is 6. So 11 minus 6 is what? 5 equals 5. So any value that is lower than 5, equal to or lower than 5, is an outlier. It's an unusually small value compared to the rest of the data set. So is there any number in our set here which is lower than 5? Well, yeah, there is. 0. So we know that 0 is an outlier and we probably shouldn't count it. So what about the upper value? So Q3 is 15 plus the IQR times 1.5, which was 6, equals 17. Okay? So is there any value higher than 17? Well, no. The highest value is 16. Almost 17, but not quite. So we can keep 16 in there. 16 is not an outlier. Okay? So, I'll just do another example. Here we've got another data set. We've got a minimum of 2, maximum of 22, a median of 11.5. So Q1, first of all, we'll need to figure out Q1. Q2 is 11.5, which I think from memory was between these two. So 11.5 is in there somewhere. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we get 9 for Q1, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we get 13 for Q3. And you notice that to get Q1, because we have two numbers for the median here, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, we need to take the 5th and 6th value and get the average, which is 11.5. To get Q1, I just finish at the lower half of our median. Okay, so Q1, we need to find the median between here and here. Okay, which was 9. So our IQR is 13 minus 9, which is 4. And then to find outliers, our IQR is 4 again. I really didn't mean for that to happen. So we need to go Q1, which is 9, minus 1.5 times 4, which is 6. So 9 minus 6 is 3. So any numbers less than 3 are outliers, which means 2 is right out. And then Q3 is 13 plus 6 equals 19. So any numbers larger than 19 are outliers, which means 22 is also out. So, I think that's all I wanted to go through with outliers. Feel free to go through this example yourself if you like. Yeah, if you have any other problems with outliers, I'm sure there are a ton of videos out online. But just remember, it's 1.5 times the IQR, and it's Q1 minus that, Q3 plus that. Okay? So any values that are less than 1.5 times the IQR minus, any numbers that are less than Q1 minus 1.5 times the IQR, or Q3 plus 1.5 times the IQR are outliers and probably shouldn't be included. Okay? Cheers.